All right, we are live. Hey, what's up, everybody? It's me, Get Money Dre. I am here with a very special guest, Mr. Beat. Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Thanks for having me, Dre. Yeah, I'm Mr. Beat. My real name is Matt Beat, and I make history videos. I used to be a history teacher in the classroom, and specifically, I really focus a lot on American political history. And recently, I've found myself becoming more of an activist, which is I'm a bit out of my comfort zone, but that's I'm trying to use my influence to get more people engaged with local politics, and then specifically one issue that I know you're going to bring up here.
All right, so there's an elephant in the room, and I am not talking about what just happened 30 minutes ago. You are known recently for wanting to uncap the House of Representatives. Talk to us further about that.
Yeah, so about 3 years ago, I made a video about just answering the question, why are there only 435 representatives in the U.S. House of Representatives? Because, different states have different numbers of representatives. And I looked in the Constitution. There's nothing about this. So I was like, well, that's kind of a random number, isn't it? And sure enough, I talked to this group called No Cap Fund, which today is Project No Cap, which you have on the screen. Thank you for putting that up there. And they really sold this idea of we've had the same number of representatives now since the 1920s. Back then, the average representative represented about, less than 250,000 constituents. Since then, our population as a country has about tripled, and yet we still have the same number of reps. So today, the average representative represents about 780 something, closer to 800,000 constituents. There are districts that have over 1 million constituents, one person, one representative.
That's not sufficient to represent a local part of the country, which is what the founders intended.
Well, and the thing that I was just most surprised about at the end of researching that video, I was like, why don't more people know about this or even care about this? The video I released did all right, but I think it was just more of a curiosity, like, oh, yeah, that's fascinating. Okay, I'm going to go back to playing video games. The thing is, why the heck? And also, if, the more I learned about this, if we did have a higher number of representatives, as it turns out, I think we would have better laws passed. We would have better representation. It would be easier to get in touch with our representatives. I always bring up our representative because you live in my district, right? Right?
I believe it may have gerrymandered away. I believe.
You're in the.
I'm in Topeka. I think I'm in 2. I think you're in 1.
You're in 2. Yeah.
I'll pull up the Kansas map right now.
Yeah, because Topeka, that's right, it got split up as well. Yeah, I got gerrymandered into Western Kansas, so I'm in the big 1st district, and my quote-unquote representative, his name is Tracy Mann, and he is really hard to get a hold of. He doesn't hold town halls, and I even, as a Z-list celebrity, had a really difficult time to get his attention just to ask him, like, hey, dude, what's your stance officially on uncapping the House? And ironically, it took him 72 days to get back to me. And that's only because I'm a Z-list celebrity.
And you are a 1 million subscriber YouTuber.
Yeah.
So I'm going to show you the problem with gerrymandering. Sorry, go ahead and finish your point, Mr. B. Sorry.
Yeah, I was going to say, I have a former student that's on his staff. I talked to him personally. I said, why can I get a meeting with him or something? Like, I'm sorry, Mr. Beat. Nope. So it's just really frustrating to not be represented by your representative. And yes, we're gerrymandered. Show the gerrymandered map, please.
I'm going to try to show the map here. Just give me 1 second. District map. Here is Mr. Beat's district, District 1. He lives here. I live here.
So
He lives in
you're right at
Douglas
the
County.
edge.
I'm not sure if you see my point.
I can't see it. We can't see it.
Okay, well, my apologies.
Here we go.
Anyway, not sure if you
Yep.
see my pointer now. Do you see
Oh
it,
my
Paul?
gosh! It literally went all the way around Topeka. I forgot about that. I
Yep.
thought the northern part of Topeka was
Here's
in
the
there.
thing:
At
if
least.
Topeka would have gotten into the district, I'm sure this could turn blue. I'm
It's
sure this could turn blue.
in a year like this year, 2026, absolutely.
Because like it just doesn't even go through. Let's see if I can get closer. Sorry, just a second. I'm new to this, but I'm not sure if there's a zoom button or option. But for those of you who are
It's
going
just
to
northern
watch this
Douglas
or
County.
watch this, look
Yeah.
at that little bit of Douglas County. This is Lawrence. This is the city of Lawrence. Do you see my little mouse or cursor thing? I'm not sure if you see a cursor on my.
Yep.
It's the little part is Lawrence right over here. Not even the rest of Douglas County. Not right there. I'm not sure. I think that's Eudora. I could be mistaken. I don't know what town that is.
It's Eudora. Yeah.
Oh yeah, it loops right around Junction City too.
Yeah. So Manhattan is in there, but it's important to note that Lawrence is the most aligned city in the entire state in terms of with the Democratic Party. The most left-leaning people live in Lawrence.
They vote 80% Democrat every election.
So
Topeka recently flipped blue. Manhattan recently flipped blue as well. Johnson County did like 20 years ago, but yeah, I know Manhattan and Topeka both voted for Harrison Biden in 2020 and 2024.
And most of Western Kansas is rural, with the exception of Dodge City, Garden City,
liberal,
probably.
Even a little
liberal,
yeah. Terribly that big.
Great Bend. Yeah, they're all. It's still mostly agricultural based.
Is that Hutchison? That could be Hutchison. That could be.
That's Hutch. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I know I said a little bit, not too much.
Yeah.
Here's my representative, Mr. Derek Schmidt. Here is this insane. I don't even know what state that is. District. You go if you see here on the right. Part of Kansas City is, in a good portion of KCK, not all of it, but a good portion of it is in my district as well. Notice how Johnson County is outside. Notice how Johnson County is outside.
Yeah. So have you tried to contact Derek Schmidt?
I contacted him a few times when you first promoted the project, but he hasn't responded to anything.
He hasn't responded to anything.
Nope. I will contact him again after this episode. So everyone beware. Make sure to contact your representatives, not just Kansans. Everyone. I don't care if you're from Alaska. I mean, they probably have one representative. Anyway, Texas, Florida, you got Alaska too. No cap them to not gerrymandering. That doesn't matter for this. That was my mistake. Contact your representative if you're in Delaware, Maine, Florida, Massachusetts, Nevada, whatever. Please contact your representatives. Tell them to uncap the House because one person shouldn't represent 800,000 people because they cannot possibly read the messages of all of those fucking people.
Yeah. Yeah, your district actually is 740,000 people, so it's very comparable in size. I mean, these are huge districts. Also, just geographically, like we're talking to drive from where I live in that little gerrymandered area to the southwestern corner of the state would take me over 6 hours to drive down there. Yeah.
I have never driven down to the southwestern corner of the state before, so I'm going to take your word for it. I know it's around that time. I've driven to Colorado and then to Missouri, but I haven't. Even Nebraska one time and Oklahoma, but I haven't driven to the southwestern corner of the state, so that's going to be something new for me, I guess.
Got to go down there for the pancake races and liberal. Those are supposed to be pretty interesting. Yeah.
I would love to talk about that further, but we have so much more to talk about.
Okay. What else you got?
We're going to briefly do the finishing of Project No Cap, and then we are going to talk about other shit that happened today, which it's been an eventful day in news. So,
yeah, I mean, I guess I could go on for a while about uncapping the House, but
anyway,
how long do I have?
5 minutes. Why we should uncap the House? How will we be able to do it? Is there a law we have to pass or a constitutional amendment? You being the history expert and American government expert, civics expert, stuff like that. Give us your best take.
Yeah, I mean, the best arguments I've heard is that we would have better representation. It'd be easier for our representatives to actually be in touch with their constituents and have town halls and meet with them and respond to their phone calls and emails. I mean, this is obvious. Right now, it's just, even with a large staff, and then the staff they do have are overworked and underpaid. So we're really just trying to shift power back to who it should be with anyway, not the staff, but the actual representative. Also, smaller districts. We need smaller districts. If you think about it, whenever you have a district that's huge, you're going to have so many competing factions that have different interests, different priorities, different values. And I just think the more districts, the more elections, which means the more opportunities there are to have new voices, to have outsiders get into the system, people who are not career politicians or career lawyers or businessmen. Those are the typical people that run for public office. But you actually have, like, I don't know, a teacher who wants to run for a public office, or a janitor or a mechanic, which, by the way,
talk about that further. But
yeah, okay, good. By the way, I've endorsed candidates running for Congress across the country who have all officially added uncapping the House to their platforms, and many of them are coming from these outsider. They're just regular working class positions.
Do you have a list of endorsements that I can look at and show on the screen?
I would love that. Yeah. So
if you have an endorsement list or candidates, or
I could put it into the chat here for you.
Go ahead and put it into the. Go ahead and message me the list, and I'll put it up on the screen.
It's there.
How many people have you talked to?
I've talked to probably about 60, 65 people running, and honestly, I haven't updated the endorsement list because some of the primaries have passed and some lost their primaries, but some won. Some are continuing on to the general. Some are running as independents. I even have a Republican, but most are Democrats. Most are outsider, anti-establishment, anti-elite, whatever you want to call it, Democrats, the type who is willing to take a chance on new reforms, because this is the time, the 2020s, the late 2020s are a time.
Everyone needs to get involved. Staying home is not an option. Even if you don't like everything that everyone says all the time, which I don't. There's some issues I have with many candidates. But I'm going to take my ass out and vote, because everyone should fucking vote. Excuse my language. But that is what we should do. We should vote.
Well, there's no perfect candidate.
List, there is not. You are right. Anyway, here are the total endorsements of Mr. Beat. Here's more of them. If you can go to, I'll put the link in the. He has his link. I'll put it somewhere.
Description. Yeah. Also, there's a petition too to please sign the petition if you agree that we should expand the size of the House of Representatives. There is a bill that exists. You kind of alluded to. It's been on it hasn't made it to committee, but it's sponsored by Congressman Sean Casten of Illinois. It's called the Equal Voices Act. It's HR 4125. If you want to look it up, it calls for expanding the House of Representatives to, I believe, 580-ish. I don't really care how many. I don't have a specific number that I want to aim for now. I'm just calling right now. I'm just trying to raise awareness of this issue. The goal is to, by the time the census happens in 2030, we have a law that says we have to expand it based on this new census these new census numbers, because there's different plans. There's the cube root rule. There's the Wyoming rule. You can Google all this stuff up. You can even do what George Washington wanted, which he thought that there should be one representative for every 30,000 constituents. The thing is with that, if we got what George Washington wanted, we currently would have more than 11,000 representatives. So that's a lot. That's a lot. But I think we just need
better than the current thing that we have. So
we need to start somewhere. And I get counter arguments all the time, like, oh, well, we're going to have to build a new building. We're going to have to find new offices for all these members of Congress. We're going to have to pay their salaries, pay their benefits. My automatic counter argument to all of that is, no, you don't. You don't have to build a new building. You don't have to build new offices. In fact, many of them could just stay in their home districts. They can work from home. We have this technology called the internet. Yeah, right. Internet, yeah. I think we're on it right now. I think people are listening on the internet right now.
I guess maybe sometimes some disasters can happen, which takes people offline. But again,
yeah.
So for that, sometimes people don't vote. There's a representative from New Jersey who is missing, I think, still. Don't know his name. But he's not in office. Mitch McConnell, something happened to him. He's had a health scare. We're going to talk further about that as well. And also other stuff. There was, I believe, a representative found in a nursing home a few years back. I don't know I'm not sure who or what. I don't take my word for it. I think that's what happened. I'll have to look further into that. But anyway, changing the subject. Mr. B, you are a history, political, civics educator. What would you say your political journey has been?
Well, I grew up pretty conservative. I would say I voted for Republicans when I first could vote. I was really big into Bob Dole when I was a kid. Of course, he's a much different type of Republican than today. And then, yeah, I mean, being in Kansas, I'm biased to favor Kansans. I also love Eisenhower. But no, the older I got, the more I learned, and the more I realized, oh, there's actually better ideas out there. So I kind of went down my libertarian journey when I was in my 20s. But I kind of always have had a libertarian streak. And but then later realized I was actually kind of more left-leaning libertarian. And these days I find myself aligning with a certain type of Democrat, usually a type of Democrat who is reform-minded. So one who's willing to admit that actually the last 20 years has been the wrong direction for the Democratic Party, that Obama, as good as he was on some things, on other things he failed tremendously, which is the reason why we got the rise of Trumpism. And until we admit that, I think that they're a little bit delusional with some of the more establishment type Democrats. But yeah, overall, like, there's no way I'm voting for fascists. There's no way I'm voting for people who support a guy who's a wannabe dictator. So
what would you say your defining moment was in switching from right to left, or like what was your defining moment to being a Democrat? Because in rural America, Democrat's a bad word for a lot of places. I'm not generalizing everybody in rural America.
Yeah.
If you are seeing this. Democrat's a bad word in a lot of places, especially in like Western Kansas. What was your?
I think George Washington is right. I think that political parties in general are a net negative. So I think you don't have to succumb to tribalism. Everybody should just say they're an independent. I still call myself an independent. But yeah, that's the problem with the Democratic Party. Their brand is so toxic still, even as Republicans are unpopular. So I think the main thing is, like, we just need people who are Democrats. If they're trying to sell their message, please don't bring up the Democratic Party. Just bring up the issues. Talk about issues that people care about, and then you'll have success. You'll have inroads. Like, I know there's a lot of issues that my dad and I agree on, even though he's a lifelong Republican. He sticks with the Republican Party. But I'm still like, hey, what do you think about term limits? And he's like, I love term limits. On this referendum coming up about should we vote for judges in Kansas? Him and I agree that no, we should not. So there's I think that most Americans are more united on more issues than we actually want to admit. The division usually is smaller once you actually have these more nuanced conversations. So yeah, just avoid bringing up political parties.
Because we are all Americans and we have more in common than not.
And you were asking for a specific moment. I don't know of a specific moment. Maybe the Iraq War, I guess. Like when I was in college, I was like, that's when I first started questioning the Republican Party. I was like, why are we going to war in Iraq? They had nothing to do with 9/11, so that's probably what started it.
I hear a lot of that. You're not the first person your age that says that. So
yeah, definitely. As an elder millennial, that's what a lot of us went through.
So what would you say your strongest positions on issues are?
I'm a big advocate for universal health care. I used to have opposite views when I was younger on that, so I've come around to that, especially after you had conservative think tanks like Cato come out and say you'd actually save a lot of money if you had universal health care versus the private sector. Yeah. I'm also passionate, obviously, about voting and representation reforms. So uncapping the House, obviously, proportional representation, getting rid of gerrymandering, ending the Electoral College, stuff like that, because I believe these are root cause problems. A lot of the problems that we talk about when it comes to anything have root cause problems that we rarely talk about because maybe it's too dorky or boring or whatever. But yeah, like
we need to have those conversations.
Those
dorky and boring conversations are the ones we need to have, because people treat politics like a reality show or like entertainment. And when you do that, look what we have now.
I firmly believe that if we fix voting and representation, there'll be a ripple effect that we'll see everything else will get better. We'll get universal health care. We'll get, I would say, less corporate welfare. We would get more equality overall. I mean, I think that's the end goal for most Democrats, I would say. Not necessarily Republicans. They don't so much really like equality. They say they like equality. But I think a lot of them are like,
equality means equality for the people that they like.
Yeah, right. Yeah, there's certain groups
I'm talking like the guys in office right now, the Republicans.
Yeah, those in power.
I'm not saying every Republican ever, but because I know some that don't, that want equality for people who actually believe in small government and not just the small government talking point.
Well, those are my people there, the ones who actually have principles. And most of them, I say, hey, have you heard of the Libertarian Party?
So you said earlier this interview, as far as we need maybe not just people in law or like business people in politics, we need teachers, mechanics, stuff like that. You yourself were once a teacher. Why the fuck did you not run for office in the Senate or in the governor race? I wanted you to run in Senate, by the way. You were my ideal Senate choice for Senate from Kansas. Why did you not run
that? My family, they didn't want to go through it, and my daughters, they're 15 and 12 now, and I feel like if they were grown up, then that'd be different. So maybe at a later date when they're older, but I just think running for public office is like the worst thing ever. And if I ever saw myself doing it, it would be maybe the state legislature. I just don't want to have to beg people for money. I don't want to have to deal with so many toxic, corrupt people that are backstabbers. And, it's just a game that I'm not built for, and I get it. I had a lot of people that advised me on this because I had a lot of people said, there are some people that said you should run. There's other people who said, let's talk about this. Because, it's not easy. It's not easy to run for public office. And I think you have to be a little crazy. And I didn't want to be away from my family is the main reason why. So
the reason I said you were the ideal candidate from a winning standpoint, you already have a national profile. You grew up in Western Kansas rural area. So you understand what those
rural area, but down by Wichita. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So you know what the people in rural America want. I mean, we all want a lot of the same things, rural and urban Americans, but again, you also have the national profile, working big time YouTuber as far as Kansas goes. Million subscribers is not bad, but yeah, I would say you would be the ideal candidate for a strategic standpoint to win.
And just Roger Marshall's so bad. I get it. Like,
he doesn't live in Kansas. He lives in Florida. Yeah. I wish I lived in Florida, but I don't yet.
I don't want to live in Florida. But yeah, no, I think it was tough because I see the candidates running against Roger Marshall. I'm just like, okay, all right. Is this really like the best we can do, Kansas? I guess still better than Roger Marshall.
Who do you have who are you endorsing in the Democratic primary for?
Senate for Kansas? Oh, okay, yeah. I didn't go over that. For Senate, the only person who is running for Senate in Kansas who added uncapping the House to their platform almost immediately is Ann Perelker, and she's great. But there's other great candidates as well. I've talked to multiple ones. One of them we talked to last night, actually. But as far as I'm more impressed actually with, I shouldn't say more impressed. I'm most impressed because he was the very first one. Shout out to Colin McRoberts, who found out that I, was having a hard time getting a hold of Tracy Mann here in the 1st District. And he's like, he reached out after finding out about me on Reddit, and he's like, I'm running against him. Tell me more about this uncapping the House idea. And he heard me out, and he was the very first one to add it to his platform. So I will always forever be thankful to him for that. So Colin McRoberts is running against Tracy Mann. I've endorsed him, obviously. I endorsed, if you go to my midterm endorsements page, you can see them all too. But as far as Kansas, let's see who else. Oh, Sarah Prue, who is running in the 3rd District. She's trying to primary Sharice Davids. Definitely has an uphill battle, but she's great. And then Cole Epley, who I think did you interview Cole, or was that somebody else? No, that was Alec. Okay.
And I interviewed Ann and Jasmine from Oklahoma.
Oh, Jasmine too, down in Oklahoma. I'm doing an event next week with Jasmine, actually. Jasmine Thomas, she's great. But yeah, Cole Epley is the other one who's in Kansas's 4th District. So that's not your district, but he's running against Ron Estes.
I will vote. I will vote for this. Ron Estes, I think. I will vote for this hairbrush if it was a Democratic nominee against any Republican. That's how fed up I am with the GOP. I was a registered independent until very recently. The reason that I switched to a Democrat was because I can't deal with this Republican Party. Like, the Republicans that are running are batshit crazy. Like they all are not living on this planet with us, for lack of a better term.
They're in their own little club. They're all sycophants for Trump.
Yeah.
There's no leadership. The only leader in the Republican Party is Trump. He's the only leader. Everyone else is followers, and they're pathetic. They're losers.
Is he really actually the leader? Because I'm sure there's someone pulling the strings behind him.
Oh, well, if you want to talk about TV, money.
Yeah, I mean.
Yeah. I mean, the thing is, though, like, a lot of people are making money. A lot of already very wealthy people are making money with Trump in power. And so they're also funneling money to members of Congress and all his sycophants. But I think a lot of his sycophants privately don't really feel the same. I would love to hear backdoor conversations.
No, I bet there is. I bet they're sick of him, but they can't do anything because he owns the mob, and the mob votes for him and whoever he likes. If you saw down in Texas, John Cornyn, who did all of that sucking up, got endorsed, got screwed over in the primary from the other guy who Trump endorsed.
Ken Paxton, yeah. It's
Title Protector Paxton. What a shame.
So, it's kind of amazing to see just one man have a control over the entire party. It's certainly not that way with the Democrats. In fact, I don't think it's really ever been that way with any other party in American history.
Any other situation in American history has never had this ever.
I mean, you could argue the early days, like Reagan did, but
close, maybe.
maybe the
But
1790s, the Federalist Party, Alexander Hamilton had a lot of influence. The Democratic Republicans, obviously Jefferson and Madison had a lot of influence, but it still pales in comparison to just
Washington too
one
was the
man
first president who people
who,
like a
again,
lot.
didn't like political parties. He wasn't a member. He's the only president who wasn't a member of a political party.
All right, we are going to talk about probably the trending news of the day.
Sure.
Mr. Graham Plattner from Maine, who was an oyster person, I think. He farmed oysters, I believe. I don't know fully what is going on with that. Some people said it was like he was like his parents gave him the money or something. I don't know. Regardless, he ran for office. He was a complete unknown. Morris Katz, the premier political strategist in the country, managed to get behind him in his campaign and made him from a virtual nobody to the former presumptive nominee for the Democratic Party until he dropped out of the race. What are your thoughts on the whole situation? Yep, today, like 10 minutes before we started recording. So
wow.
What are your thoughts on the whole situation? Not just the allegations, but from the beginning until now.
Well, he got a lot of attention because he was just kind of a different type of Democrat running for Congress, especially the Senate. You usually don't have people like that. Very rough around the edges, but also he got a lot of positive attention for basically being like a younger, fresher Bernie Sanders. You know, Bernie Sanders even endorsed him. A lot of more progressive, quote unquote, progressive politicians endorsed him. He talked about class issues and affordability, similar to Mamdani, but even more populist, I would say. You know, almost borderline eat the rich type stuff, which, got to be honest, there's an appetite for that right now. And so
people need stuff, and people are fed up with the donor class, quote unquote.
Yeah, the K-shaped economy, the fact that income inequality is worse now than it was in the Gilded Age. We're living in the second Gilded Age right now. So I think there's a lot of angry people, and he really resonated with them. So even when he started to have these scandals, people stuck with him. But this latest scandal, I think, was just too much. You know, it's one thing to be the president and be accused of by dozens of women of rape. You're fine if you're the president if you're accused of rape. But if you are not the president, then that usually means your political career is over. So I guess that's what we're seeing, what happened today. And the guy who might take his place, one of the guys at least, Troy Jackson. Rumor has it he might add uncapping the House to his platform. So fingers crossed. Sorry to talk so much. Okay, go ahead.
No, this is your interview. Talk. You're supposed to talk, man. So about the next issue is, I believe, what is next to talk about?
Mitch?
Oh, yep, Mitch McConnell. The number one senator in the Republican Party for a long time is, what's it called? He had a health scare, and no one knows what's going on with him. So,
yeah.
What do you think about people? Like, what do you think about the whole situation? I think that sometimes senators and politicians in general get too old, so they don't want to get rid of their seat or let go of their job. I think that if you are older than 70 years old, you should take a cognitive test once a year from 70 to 75, twice a year from 75 to 80, and 4 times, like once every quarter, 80 onwards, to determine your fitness for running office. That way you don't have to be ageist, but you can assure people that these people that you elect are still competent in doing the job that they are paid to do.
Yeah, because there's some people that call for age limits, which I don't know about that. But
I get it. I don't know about that, but I get it.
Yeah.
What do you think about age limits in the Senate? and stuff like
I
that. Didn't mean
I
interrupt you.
tend to
Sorry
be
about
more
that.
for term limits because yeah, sometimes you do get somebody who's pretty pretty bright into their 90s, even like they're like able to do this. Um, I know that Mitch McConnell for the last 2 years, I mean, he announced a couple of years ago that he would not be seeking reelection in 2026. It's almost like he knew his health was declining or something. But yeah, you're right. Once these politicians get a good taste of power, it's hard for them to give it up. It's really sad, but that's kind of human nature. And term limits aren't perfect because obviously you're going to make it so that lobbyists have more power. The swamp might get a little swampier in some ways. That
It's already
is,
gotten swampy.
I was going to say, like, it's already swampy. So what can you lose? But yeah, Mitch McConnell. We just have to also add the fact that he could be dead. There's rumors going around that he's not even alive. That's how secretive they are being about this in Kentucky right now. No one has seen him for a long time.
In his defense, historically speaking, throughout history, people like senators and even presidents, especially, their health scares have been hidden from the public while in office because they don't want to
Yeah.
scare the populace.
Woodrow Wilson, Grover Cleveland. Yeah, you betcha.
So I'm going to change the topic here a little bit. As far as what you look for in a candidate in their issues, what issues are most important to you, Mr. Beat, when you vote for somebody in any election, whether it's school board, fucking alderman, or even the president of the United States? What do you look for in a candidate?
Well, this kind of overlaps with that question you asked me earlier, so I don't want to be too repetitive, redundant right now.
Yeah,
So,
I know
other
I
than
asked a
voting
little bit earlier.
representation, but no, like I think to add to what I was saying earlier, in terms of character, somebody who is pragmatic, somebody who has empathy, somebody who clearly is not corrupt, which that could be a challenge. Most people that run for public office, I mean, and it's not so much that they're bad people; it's just that the entire system is set up in a way that almost encourages corruption, bribes. It's essentially, effectively, it is legal to bribe people in this country for politicians. Like you can do it legal. There's no law against it anymore. Um, so yeah, like and particularly if you are running for anything in this country right now and you are not taking any PAC money, you're not taking any money from shady multinational corporations, you got my attention. Like to me, that shows you have integrity. That's a big W for character right there for me.
So as far as ideal candidates, let's take 1 minute or 2 minutes maybe at most. Who is your ideal candidate for 2028? Like a name you have in your mind that you want to vote for. Who would you specifically name specifically?
I think John Ossoff would be good. I also like Andy Bashir out of Kentucky. But I think as far as star power, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, or maybe combination of any of those three in terms of a ticket. I know that Gavin Newsom is still the favorite. I got the opportunity to interview him, and he's definitely a very personable, charming dude who's clearly like got the riz and is the favorite at the moment. But just keep in mind that we are. I told you this last night when I met you in person. We are living in a very dynamic time. Lots of things are changing right now so quickly that we won't be able to comprehend them until we reflect about these moments for years to come. And I think this is one of those moments where it's difficult to predict tomorrow, let alone 3 years from now, 2.5 years from now. So
as far as you saw in Kentucky with the Massey primary, most expensive in history, he got unseated by Ed Gallagher, and the primary for the Senate, Paxton kicked the shit out of John Cornyn. What do you feel is going to take the Republican Party to stop being the cult of Trump, or for Republicans to take a stand against him and not be afraid of losing their jobs?
Trump has to die for that cult to really break apart. And it will break apart after he dies. So he could die tomorrow or he could die in 10 years. But whenever it does happen, just know that there's going to be a power vacuum. And I think that eventually Trumpism will turn into a religion. In some ways, it already is.
Oh, God. People are praying to Trump.
Yeah.
Like Jesus. But they call themselves Christian at the same time. But they broke the most important rule of Christianity.
The golden rule?
No false idols.
Oh, no false idols. Yeah.
That's the number one commandment not to fucking have. If you've ever read the Bible ever in your entire life, or even skimmed through it, no false gods, no idols is the number one on that list. I'm not going to get too deep into religion. I'm going to change the subject here.
But also, don't say my name in vain. That's number 2 or 3. Yeah. But I think, and by the way, there's no commandment for rape. I always have to bring that up. Or there's no commandment for pedophilia. Anyway. But yeah, like
probably why I left religion, because of that shit. But
my point is it's all made up. It's more important for these folks to just stick with the tribe. Loyalty to the tribe is so intertwined with their identity. I just think that there's about 30% of them never, ever leaving. And so that's why people throw this term death cult. You know, they're dying with them no matter what.
That's my term. I called it the death cult of the year fired guy.
I think that's pretty
Republican
apt.
Party. The year fired guy took over the Republican Party. So I know he took over. As soon as he said the racist stuff about Mexicans, I knew he was going to be the next president. And I was not happy. I was terrified for this country. Rightfully so. You see what the hell is happening. Why do you think this entire situation got as popular and as big? Why do you think Trump became as big as he did? Why do you think he won the 2016 nomination for the Republican Party? Why did Trumpism become as big as it did, in your opinion? You being a history scholar, what made you...
Because of the rise of democracy, and especially the internet, democratizing information. We like to pretend like that we're civilized. We've never been civilized. It's always been a minority of people who have kind of kept us in check. You know, we're animals. I mean, very tribal. Every single human being is guilty of being tribalistic and forming in groups and out groups and scapegoating the out groups. You're not in my tribe, then you're sus, man. And so, yeah, this has always been there. What's prevented a demagogue like Trump from getting in before, frankly, was the fact that you had elites in there. I know this sounds horrible, and so I totally can sympathize.
He's the elite. He is the elite, though. He's always been the elite.
Okay. Let me explain this. Trump has always been an elite. Yeah, he's always been super wealthy, well connected, but he was kind of the outcast in those circles. He was made fun of.
I disagree.
Well, remember Obama making fun of him at the media
at the White House dinner in 2011. But Trump was invited to those. He was invited to those things, and he was invited to the guy with. He was friends with the guy with the island, too, as well.
So he was well connected.
He met Clinton many times. He's been to the White House before the whole. He wants to be president shit.
I'm saying like between 2011 and 2015, Trump was no longer had status with the elites like he did previously. By that time, the elites, when I say the elites, I know I sound conspiratorial, put my tinfoil hat on, but I'm oversimplifying. This elite group of people that George Carlin always alluded to, the big club and you're not in, Trump lost status in that group, and that matters. If you're an outcast of any group, you're going to rebel against that group, and you're going to go hard against them. Like, I was raised Catholic, and I'm extra critical of Catholics today. I shouldn't be. I will say I'm a fan of the Pope right now, but regardless, like you're trying to. He's been on a revenge path. The last 11 years, Trump has been on a revenge path. And I think it's because he was taken down a few notches with the elites. But you're right. He's well connected his entire life. What do you think?
I think that he was the elite. I don't think he was trying to drain the swamp. He's always been part of the group. He's always been part of the rich people, the well-connected people.
But he's a con artist. That's a difference.
He's always been. Oh yeah.
But okay, but a lot of the elites though were born into, almost all of them were born into a generational wealth. He was too, but he never actually generated any wealth, any new wealth. It was all just
Trump University, Trump steak, Trump air,
he's a con artist.
Trump fucking water.
And so
Casinos.
you do that enough.
The other pays contractors.
That's why even like within elite circles, the only ones who stayed loyal to him were also con artists, like Dr. Oz, another con artist. Oh yeah, con artists stick together. I think that's why his status was diminished in elite circles, is because by that time, freaking reality TV star, they knew who he really was. They knew he was hanging out with Epstein, although many of them were too. So there's that. All right.
There's a documentary.
Tinfoil hat.
We have 15. Tinfoil hat. We have like 15 minutes left. I want to get everything, but to finish this point, I highly recommend you watch Filthy Rich, the Jeffrey Epstein story on Netflix. If anyone sees this, please watch that documentary. It's a really good series. Talks about the horrifying details of his crimes, and like without trying to put too much on him, raising him up as like some godlike figure. It shows the victims too and what they've been through. Some of the victims and what they've been through as well.
I haven't seen it, but yeah, I heard it's good.
Watch that on Netflix. Whenever you get time, I know you're busy. So, what do you think about public education? I know you were a teacher. We have a lot, especially in a state like Kansas. We've had very not good education as far as compared to some other states like Massachusetts or California or like other coastal areas of the country. What do you think we can do to fix education in the country as a whole, public education? But Kansas, because it's our state, but in general.
Well, we start with paying teachers more, so you get better teachers in there when you pay them more. Kansas has not been very good in recent decades at keeping up with the rest of the country in terms of teacher salary. I know some of the best paid teachers are actually not just New England or Minnesota or California, but surprise, places like Wyoming. And wouldn't you know it? Student achievement is better when teachers are better paid, but also smaller teacher to student ratios, kind of like uncapping the house, smaller districts, smaller classrooms. Also, I got to give a shout out to one of my former coworkers, Dr. Taylor, who his thesis was about. There's research that shows if kids are involved in some kind of extracurricular activity at their school, their achievement goes way up, even if it's something that is as silly as, like chess club, which I used to be a sponsor of. And there's a bunch of things. The main thing is like kids need food and stability.
Good food.
Yeah, good, healthy food.
I know in the inner city,
free.
People don't have as much money, so they kind of give shitty food to the kids, right? I remember a few years, like 10 years ago, in a district in New York, inner city New York, fed kids cheese sandwiches, which was made of government cheese, and it looked really disgusting. Ooh. I'm not sure which district specifically, so don't get at me with that. But that's probably all they had, like money-wise. Like, we need to feed our kids good quality food so they stay in school and don't skip school.
Yeah, and
it's tough about crime, tough on crime, without kids dropping out, shitty kids being mean to teachers, without addressing the root problem. I'm not saying
poverty.
Yeah, it's people. The poverty breeds crime.
Yeah.
Lack of opportunity breeds crime.
The cycle repeats. Yeah, we've all seen The Wire, right? You've seen The Wire.
I
That
have seen
sums
The
it
Wire,
all
yes.
up. And here we are. Like, it's been 20 years since that show came out, and here we are again. Like, it's a new generation. Poverty has not changed.
It's going to get worse. Crime is going to
Eh,
get worse too. It's going to get worse. It's not going to get better. I think
well,
poverty is going to get worse in the next 2 or 3 years. Maybe
yeah,
we
I
can
think
get
it
things
slightly
back on
will.
track next election cycle. But people fail to understand that taxes are not necessarily charity, or
Yeah,
supposed to be anyway. I mean, when we if we like give it for like frivolous bullshit, that's one thing. But taxes are infrastructure. No one says, "Yay, I love paying my fucking taxes." But taxes build roads, build schools, help keep streets clean and safe, pay firefighters, policemen, things like that. That's what taxes do.
yeah. I honestly am keen on a universal basic income, especially starting with these communities that are struggling with poverty.
I'm not opposed to a UBI, but I would have to have there have to be a plan in place to give people enough that, okay, maybe I can get food for some time, or maybe I can keep the power on. But
Yeah, cover necessities.
yes,
Absolutely.
but like we would want people to still work and get and like
I don't
achieve.
even. The thing is, people they'll work. We don't have to like. People want to work generally, and so unless there's like something wrong, like in terms
I'm
of
saying
they have a
if you're
disability.
fully able. I'm saying if you're fully able. I'm
Yeah,
not talking about people with disabilities.
they want to work. Like I think this idea, this whole notion that people are lazy. No, people just have different passions, and like sometimes your passion doesn't line up with the economy. It's like, and that doesn't mean you're not a hard worker. Although we do have people, everybody knows somebody who's lazy. You know,
there are people. There are people out there that don't want to work.
And I even say, I even say, screw that. Like, if you don't want to work, I don't care. Pay them. No human being deserves to go through poverty. We have enough prosperity on this planet.
Poverty breeds poverty.
Yeah,
is an insane amount of situation. I'm fortunate to have parents who I didn't have a lot of cash growing up, but they worked hard to make sure that I got everything I needed. And for them, like we were not rich by any means, but my parents worked hard to invest in my education too. Because sometimes parents work 2-3 jobs; they don't have time to supervise, like teach extra literacy skills or check grades or talk to the teachers or something like that. Some parents can't do that. My mom, education was always big with her, so she made sure that me and my brother, did well in school.
Shout out to your mom.
Shout out to moms. Yep. Shout out to moms.
I had good parents too, and we never made much money. They never made much money growing up, so I can relate.
I'm trying to get this journalism thing going so I could take care of my family. But in the meantime, enough about that. Speaking of YouTube, I know you started off as a teacher, but you made videos to educate kids on U.S. history and politics and social studies, stuff like that. What made you get into YouTube? Why did you continue with it when there was when there wasn't any promise until you blew up? Tell us your YouTube story, for lack of a better word.
Sure. Yeah, my first degree was journalism. Actually, it's up there. Yeah, and I was going to be a music journalist. That's what I wanted to do originally, and then I decided I didn't want to do that because I didn't want to move to New York or Chicago or LA. I wanted to stay near family, and then I got a job as a valet manager. And kind of had a quarter life crisis. Went back to school to become a teacher. My mom always said I should be a social studies teacher, but I hated high school, so I was like, I just don't want to go back to that place.
I couldn't teach kids. I respect teachers. I need to pay them more. I could never teach kids ever. During high school, I wasn't like a misbehaving kid because my mom would not be okay with that shit. But I did get in trouble a little bit. I did act out a little bit. I mean, I was hanging around. Sometimes I was hanging around people that weren't the best fit, for lack of a better word. But no, like teachers need to get paid more. My goal is to be to make the streaming thing make actual journalism too, not just uh regular stuff, but also do video essays as well. Not
Well,
to
speaking of
promotion.
which, yeah, I mean, okay, so yeah, I worked in a TV station for actually KSNT right there in Topeka. I worked there. I did
I was
behind the
supposed to
scenes
have an
stuff.
internship, but the hard times at the beginning of the 2025, I was supposed to have like a little shadowing there last year.
Oh,
But
I just stick with this.
they got good people up there. They got good people up there.
They do,
So,
yeah. But like I said, I had a quarter life crisis. Decided I didn't want to do it anymore. I was also in radio, but there was hard to get. It was hard to get jobs, and so I never stopped making videos. I made videos for fun. I made videos like silly
yeah.
videos with my brother, and then we were in a band, and so we would film ourselves for music videos and for live shows. And I was an early adopter of YouTube. I started my first YouTube account in 2006 for my band, and yeah, like I uploaded like the first video we ever uploaded was this place called PJ's in Manhattan. We had a gig there. I just put the camera up and really crappy footage. It took all night to upload because the internet was so slow back then. So yeah, I was one of the OG YouTubers. And then
Okay.
2011, 2009 actually, I was posting educational videos, but only for my students. These were private videos, so you only saw it in class. And it wasn't until 2011 where I was like, oh, I'm going to start maybe making these public. And then I quickly realized that other teachers were playing my videos to their kids, and I was like, oh, I should take this more seriously. And then the rest is kind of history. Like I went full time in 2021.
So I did watch your video about the history of YouTube with Mr. Beast.
Yeah.
In preparation for this interview. I don't have a journalism degree. I didn't go to journalism school. I did do like a freelance journalism gig, like some volunteer gigs and stuff like that. What would you say to anybody out there trying to make it in YouTube or journalism or anything in that niche, for lack of a better word?
Well, Dre, what I say for you as well, like, because I'm really like I'm excited for you to like try to take it to the next level. Um, First and foremost, you have to be a good storyteller. So, and good writing helps with that the most, I think, because it forces you to organize your thoughts in a way that's interesting. So, anything you like, whether it be an album, even a song, a movie, obviously, a show, a series, even a painting, it has a story to it. It has a narrative, and you are hooked in at the beginning. Once they hook you in, they keep you there for the whole thing. Like for me, I struggle with to this day. I've been doing YouTube since really for 20 years now. I've been doing YouTube, and I still haven't quite figured out the thumbnail and the title because like that's marketing. That's a whole nother beast. But in terms of like the
That's kind of what I
storytelling,
do for a job, is marketing,
see, you
sales.
probably
I mean,
so you
that
know that
area.
better. But once they get you, you gotta keep them there because the thing that I pay attention to the most is watch time. Like my Abraham Lincoln video I just released, it actually didn't do as well, I think, as it could have. And I think part of the thing that I really struggled with is people saw Abraham Lincoln. They saw, oh, well, I already know everything I need to know about Abraham Lincoln, like I'm done learning about Abraham Lincoln. And so they didn't click on the video. Whereas if I did a better job making it more mysterious or putting another novel angle on it, more people would have clicked on it. The fact of the matter, when people did click on my video, they stuck around for the story. The story, I think, was good enough that the watch time actually was really, really freaking good. And so that's why I say, like, that's the most important thing because people will be more loyal to you. They'll come back and back time and time again if you're a good storyteller.
So I'm gonna wrap this up in a few minutes. I know you got stuff to do. And I got work tomorrow. So a few more things I like to go over, not too long. You live in Lawrence. During this World Cup, the Algerian soccer team had a base camp in Lawrence. Did you meet any of them? Did you see any of them? Things like that? Like, did you
Yeah,
did you have interactions with the Algerian team and community at large?
just a little bit, mostly fans actually. We did an event where we revealed it's Earthwork by Stan Hurd, who's a local artist who he did a giant Algerian
Algerian flag.
flag, yeah, by the lead center, and we filmed it and covered it, and it kind of went viral. But we met some Algerians through that, so that was really cool. To this day, I'm still getting random messages from people in Algeria, and they're just some of the nicest people ever. It's been such a cool thing.
This has been a worldwide story, so I'm glad Lawrence has gotten that recognition for being a hospitable,
Yeah.
welcoming town, which it is.
Heck yeah.
Algeria. I know you. Before you, could you? I know this is usually at the beginning. Could you talk to us a little bit more detail about your background, growing up, things like that? This is usually what I do in the beginning, but you had a lot of other stuff, uncapping the house, Plattner, shit like that. Talk to us a little bit about your childhood and your young adulthood or coming of age.
Yeah, I grew up mostly in a somewhat rural area just outside of Augusta, Kansas, which is east of Wichita. Technically a suburb, but it's a ways out there. And I had a very religious, conservative upbringing, but it was pretty good. And I love my parents. I love my family, my brother and sister. I'm the oldest. I was always the most curious, the one who always asking questions, and always the one who cared the most about the truth. And so I think that's what led me to what I do now. Is like I'm still constantly trying to figure out what the truth. And the more I search for the truth, the more confused I get. So I feel like that's just been the story of my life. Like I never stopped. Most people, they get to a certain point and they're just like, I've learned enough. I'm good.
That's my
Not
biggest
me.
fear. That's my biggest fear.
Right?
Stopping being good enough.
Yeah,
I try
yeah.
to learn everything, whether it's about music or about politics, art, the world. Try to learn something new every day. Things like that. So, Mr. B, do you have any closing statements? Anything you want to say to the people of YouTube?
Thanks for having me on, Dre, and check out Project No Cap. If you search that up, I think it goes to our website, projectnocap.com, .org, I think. It's because we're a nonprofit, but we're trying to raise awareness.
.com. It's
It is .com. Oh, interesting. I don't know how that works. But anyway, I'm on the board of them. Actually, we are constantly looking for ways to spread awareness. So it means a lot that you're having me on. Hopefully we can gain some more traction. The goal is just to raise awareness in 2026. And then hopefully by 2028, we're getting an actual bill passed where we're expanding the House of Representatives. So,
all right. So I appreciate everyone tapping in today. It means a lot to every single one of you guys watching on YouTube. I would like to work with you, Mr. Beat, in the future on, I'm not sure where, but I would love to keep in contact, keep a professional relationship going. And everyone subscribe, like, share, comment, do everything else. This is a live broadcast, but always feel free to look back onto this. In the meantime, I hope you all have a wonderful day. I'd like to talk to you a little bit after the Mr. Beat, after the stream.
sounds good.
But everyone else, bye.